Hi, and a very warm welcome to our morning Yin Yoga class. My name is Gaia, and today we're doing a very lovely, very gentle sequence to help us wake up and stretch early in the morning. It is morning for me as well, first stretch of the day, so it's going to be really lovely, really pleasant, and I look forward to practicing with you. Now, no props are required. However, if you do have two blocks, you can absolutely use them because this can be really good in the morning because it allows us to feel the pose slightly differently. But again, if you don't have blocks or don't want to use blocks, that is perfectly fine. We'll begin on our hands and knees in tabletop pose. So bring your knees under your hips, wrists under the shoulders. And then just walk your arms out in front of you into a melting heart, keeping your hips stacked over your knees. You can keep a slight engagement in your hands here, pressing against the floor, and a slight engagement in your core as well, so that you're not fully dropping down into the pose, but keeping it slightly more active. Just really breathe nice and deep here, feeling the stretch through the back line of your body, through the shoulders. Just taking your time and enjoying this. Take one more deep breath here. And then press back up into tabletop. Take a second before coming back onto your heels into child's pose. You can do a wide-legged version or keeping your knees together, just stretching a bit more into our body as we walk our arms out in front of us, bringing the forehead to the mat. Really relaxing into this pose. We're just getting started and we're treating our body with kindness. So settle in, breathe, relax. walk those arms in, coming back into kneeling. Just take a moment here, breathing nice and deep. Now return back into tabletop, just using this for transition, and then bring your right leg out in front of you, in between your hands. This is the moment where you can absolutely use blocks if you have them. We're doing a lovely low lunge, and if you are using blocks, you can just place them under your hands here to really help you with the lift in your chest. If you're not using blocks, you can come onto your fingertips, really emphasizing dropping your hips down low and lifting your chest up. Alternatively, you can also place your arms on your right thigh and remain here. But I find that for morning practices, having some support from the ground can be really lovely. So either use blocks, use your fingertips, work with what your body desires today, and sink into this pose, really dropping those hips, still lengthening through the low back. The crown of your head is reaching up, growing. Breathe here. Now just shift your weight back, extending that front leg and coming into half splits. You might have to adjust the position of your front leg. Again, here you can use blocks or you can do this without blocks. Just really bringing that weight back, grounding into your front heel, and then just allowing yourself to passively curve over that front leg. You don't have to go deep. This is just a lovely stretch for the back of our legs, for the hamstrings. You might feel it behind the knee, in your calf as well. Take one more breath here. And then bend into that front leg. Bring your hands down and come back into tabletop. Just take a moment here. You can do any movements that feel good. Maybe some cat-cow, or maybe just shifting your hips side to side and twisting a bit in your shoulders as well. You can also remain still if that is what you desire right now. Then find some stillness and bring the left leg forward into your low lunge. Again, option is to come onto your fingertips. Use the blocks to place your hands on them for support, or place your hands on your thigh. Whichever version you choose, just make sure that you're really lengthening through your back, dropping those hips down, and the crown of your head continues to grow. And just settle here, breathing nice and deep. Notice that your breath has become shorter. It just means that you have gone a bit too far into the pose. So just back up a tiny bit if that happens. We're not trying to force anything here. This is our morning practice, so we are being really gentle with ourselves, inviting the stretch to happen rather than forcing it. Let's take one more deep breath before moving into our half splits. So when you're ready, just shift the weight back, extend the front leg out in front of you. Come onto your blocks or your hands, your fingertips. Just depends on what works for you today. And allow your spine to passively curve here. Keep the left foot flexed. And just breathe nice and deep, especially into the back space of your torso. One more breath in your half splits. And then bend into that front knee. And bring the leg back into tabletop. We're just going to push back into a child's pose, maybe with the legs closed this time. Just really passively resting our body over our thighs. You can also bring the arms by your sides with the palms turned up. So
If your arms were out in front of you, just gently walk them back in, coming back to kneeling. If they were by your sides, first place the palms down on the mat under your shoulders. Gently roll yourself up.
Again, let's take just a moment here, a few breaths. And you can remain where you are. I'm just going to turn so that you can see slightly better. You can either remain in kneeling or take an easy seat if kneeling is hard for your knees. Just going to do some archer arms. Left arm bends at the elbow and reaches in between your shoulder blades. If you cannot reach quite as far, you can always grab your shirt and use that instead of a strap. And then the right arm sweeps up overhead and meets the left. Pay attention to your low ribs. Make sure that they are not flaring out. So really pull them in to encourage the stretch happening from the shoulder. And we won't be here very long. Just giving our shoulders a little bit of love. Gently release your arms. And we'll just do the same on the other side. Right arm reaches in between your shoulder blades or grabs hold of your t-shirt. The left sweeps overhead and meets the right. Again, tuck the low ribs in if you notice them flaring out. Keep your shoulders nice and low here so they're not creeping up too much. And just breathe. Gently release your arms. You can shake them out a bit, nicely, gently. And again, you can remain where you are. Let me just turn so that I'm facing you. You can be in your kneeling or Sukhasana pose, again, depending on what works better for you. And we're just going to turn into a simple twist. Right arm comes onto the right knee. Lengthen on the inhale, and on the exhale, twist over to your left, bringing the left fingertips on the mat behind you or on the floor behind you. On your next inhale, reach through the crown of your head a bit more. And on the exhale, come back to neutral. Take a moment. And then the left hand comes on top of the right knee. Lengthen on the inhale. And on the exhale, twist over to your right. Your next inhale, lengthen some more. And on the exhale, return to center. I'm going to do one more thing before we close our practice, because this is a morning practice. We won't be doing Shavasana. We will be doing some somatic movements instead. Of course, you can always take Shavasana if that feels good to you. But still, come here, do the somatic, and then take Shavasana, because this is a lovely way of just releasing our entire body and just super good for setting ourselves up for the day. Come onto your bellies, just lower down in whichever way feels good to you. Bend at the elbows and create a nice little shelf for your forehead. Keep your legs around hip distance apart. Really sink down against your mat as loose and as relaxed as you can. And then we're just going to do some hip rocking. So we'll be sloshing our hips over to the left, right, and left, and right. And once you get accustomed to the movement, you can really speed up the tempo. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Just sloshing those hips. Feeling the skin on your low back sliding. My sweet boy Merkaba just decided to come stretch on my mat with me. Just keep sloshing those hips. Really feeling super loose and relaxed in your body. Like you don't have a single care in the world. Feel the skin on your low back sliding. And just surrender to this beautiful movement that shakes off any tension, stress, anxiety, really anything and everything we don't need from our bodies. You can also take some audible exhales here if that feels good to you. And whenever you're ready, bring the movement to a pause. Feel your body sink against the mat. Feel how much looser you are, how more relaxed. And then very lazily, very gently, just roll onto one side. Stay here for a breath or so. And then, with the help of your hands, press back up into a seat. If you decided to do Shavasana, this is the moment. If you're closing the practice with me, then please place your hands together at the heart in Anjali Mudra. We're going to close our practice with gratitude. First, thank yourself for coming onto your mat today, for taking the time to do this practice. Even if it's not in the morning, you're showing up for yourself. And if it is in the morning, this is such a beautiful, nurturing way to treat yourself, to set yourself up for your day so that you can move through it with grace, centeredness, peace, and kindness. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me, and I will see you soon. Thank you.